So welcome to the Compassionate Capitalist podcast, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. If hopefully you've listened to more than one, and you'll listen to more than one after this. I'm excited to have a returning guest who's also a very good friend, Bo Megginson. Hello. Say hello to everybody. Well, you can't wave.
Hello, everybody. I can wave. There we go.
Okay.
Karen,
So
it's so great to join you. I mean, what you're doing from an educational perspective, and helping so many of your listeners understand the different dynamics in the capital world, particularly early stages, is vital. And I'm very grateful that you asked me to be part of what you're doing.
well, thank you. So for those of you that we haven't had the benefit of listening or watching to the podcast that Bo and I did, I think 2019, let me tell you who he is and why this is a special time. He's the managing partner of Gold Coast Angels. He's helping to build South Florida into the largest, most active startup entrepreneur community. I guess you get Gold Coast is invested in 7 portfolio companies since inception, from healthcare to AI to pet products. He serves on the board of many companies, including Pritchard's Distillery Company in St. John Bosco, member of the Family Office Club, and a former executive director for the Angel Investor Management Group, AIM, which is one of the largest, most active angel investor networks in the Southeast, definitely along the panhandle of Florida and Alabama, and with 40 million put to work in over 60 companies. So welcome again.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate it. And again, very honored and humbled that you would include me in your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. So, let's catch up officially. We had a little chat the other day, but last time we did this show, Compassionate Capitalist Show, was after I run into you at a family office event, or maybe I reached out to you and then we ran into each other there. Anyway, you were just kicking things off down in Miami, and it was an exciting time, lots of opportunity. They brought you down there specifically to start up that angel group. And look at that, 7 companies. So most people, it was the Black Swan event of 2020 with the pandemic. And the investors I knew up in Atlanta and around the Southeast and Southwest have stayed extremely active. And it sounds like the same thing down there in South Florida.
It has been. And, as with anything, if you even look back to 2007 and 2008, Karen, when there is upheaval, for better or for worse, it also creates opportunity. And, in 2007, 2008, for those people that had cash, the real estate market was easy pickings. And then some groups and individuals were able to do very well. And likewise, with the pandemic issues, it's opened up other things. For example, telehealth has obviously done very well since the pandemic took over, and so many of the healthcare providers are now going to a remote model. And we've been able to take advantage of that. We've been able to work with testing companies and vaccination companies to do patient follow-up, and Wellbox has had multifold growth in the last year or so. So that's been very good. Other companies.
Let me interrupt, because you broke up there for just a minute. So you were talking about you invested in Wellbox back in before the pandemic, and then it really has amplified since the pandemic because of the nature of telemed.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, exactly. They're a telemed company, and with the advent of the pandemic, they were able to partner with testing companies and vaccination companies to do patient follow-up, and it really just exploded their business. And they've had multiple over the last year or so, to where the valuation is a geometric component of what it was when we first invested. So that's been very good.
That's great to hear.
They've been a very good success story. And there are other companies that, again, in different spaces, whether it be transportation or delivery, are doing delivering the last mile for food or what have you, that have really done well. So different areas have opened up. It's a different type of, it's a pharma company that we're really excited about. It's got an incredible team. And again, as you know, the team is everything. So those are good things that they're not just here in Miami. Of course, Miami right now in South Florida is seeing just an incredible dynamic of growth with the people from New York that are, and Silicon Valley for that matter, that I say are leaving, but the proper term might be evacuating and coming to Florida.
Yeah.
It's been tremendous.
Well, that was one of my questions I was going to come to. We'll just jump to that right now because I think one of the things that I've been talking to people that the pandemic kind of gave a whole new perspective on where they could live because so many businesses or so many organizations figured out that they could do what they did remote. And when it comes to investing, particularly if I know you guys take an active mentoring sort of role within your companies, but a lot of there's been this talk of VCs and different money side of the equation moving out of Silicon Valley. And when we talked the other day, you mentioned New York as well because of increased taxation in those areas, cost of living, and just the quality of life of being in a highly populated area versus something potentially more spread out like South Florida is compared to some of those areas where you've got a metropolitan area, but you're easily accessible to that from an area that has a lot of sunshine and trees around you. So you yourself and your organization not only have seen a benefit from that and people coming down there and discovering you, but also has it been entrepreneurs relocating as well and then critical resources for entrepreneurs all kind of moving that way too?
Absolutely. And even before the pandemic, Karen, we had seen and hosted, frankly, a number of groups specifically from the Bay Area that were looking to South Florida as a place to locate portfolio companies, because that was, again, even pre-COVID. This was December 2019, January of 2020. Because the early stage entrepreneur certainly then, and I'm sure it's the same now, could not afford to live in Silicon Valley companies. Well, now it's even more so. Right? On Tuesday, for example, since we've talked, Peter Thiel and Founders Fund announced on Tuesday that they are moving an office and opening an office in the Wynwood area, in the Wynwood Annex, which is an area here in the Midtown area of Miami.
Really?
On 24th Street, kind of if you look at Wynwood, it's kind of the up and coming, really kind of artsy, techie district of Miami. But they announced they are taking a whole floor. Founders Fund, along with one of their portfolio companies. It's in the Miami Herald. I can't remember the name of the company, but they are taking a whole floor of the Wynwood Annex in Midtown Miami. That was announced Tuesday. So it just keeps happening more and more. There's 3 weeks ago, the Downtown Development Authority of Miami held a mixer for companies that they had helped relocate to downtown Miami from New York, specifically that narrow. And there were over 100 people there.
Yeah.
And
wow.
They were just creating an environment where they could meet, local Miami people that are in the industry, to create some relationships there that will frankly keep those folks here if and when things in their hometown or their home area change, because we want them to become part of the community, not just come hang out for a little while and leave. So that the continued growth, and there's more coming on a weekly basis, and that's going to continue to happen as Peter Thiel and Founders Fund illustrates.
Yeah. So do you see that? Because it used to be in a lot of cases down in Florida, you had the snowbirds, and so investing and that kind of stuff was kind of seasonality and stuff. Seasonal. But but now it sounds like maybe not as much. You might go back for business, but roots get planted down in South Florida.
Exactly. Well, you have a lot of we've had and still do a lot of people that were coming down for 6 months and a day for the tax benefits and claiming South Florida as their primary residence, so they did not have to pay state or city income tax. Well, now that they've been down here for a while and seen again the lifestyle benefits of being in such an eclectic and international city like Miami. And Miami it's a different culture. It's its culture of its own. It is multinational. It is American, to be sure. In fact, some of the most ardent and pro America people are folks from other countries that have come here and understand
Sure.
what other countries are like
Yep.
and have left for a reason and appreciate what we have here. In fact, particularly Colombians, Venezuelans, Argentinians, along with Cubans, of course. But so you've got the gateway to all kinds of different countries and nationalities and Jewish population and Israeli population here. There's the European, South African, African for that matter. It's just an eclectic group. To use a phrase that I'm from my neck of the woods, it's a gumbo of different flavors that creates an incredible meal that that many people can enjoy and take advantage of. And a lot of folks are seeing it right now, and it's not just Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas anymore.
Okay, so well, since you got it started, you had a perspective when you came in there, and then what you just said about all of the broad diversity of the community down there.
Mhm.
You're on the website. And by the way, for those that are listening, the website for Gold Coast Angels is goldcoastangels.vc, just like it sounds, goldcoastangels.vc. Have one of the things that I've noticed in some of the angel groups that I've been participating in is that old adage of, only investing in things that are in your backyard, and, they might have like a lot of times it's tech companies, they might have lanes of technology that they play in, but a lot of that has been sort of blown up, if you will, because everything being so virtual, the level of due diligence is higher because of the fact you may not have as much of a face-to-face interaction as you would have. But when you have, but not the backyard piece of it, it really seems to has changed in a lot of what used to be the normal sort of, you know, dissertation of what was the investment
Right.
criteria. And so as a managed, because you guys have yourself listed as a member managed. So
Right.
it started out with that intent, and explain, for our audience what that means. And then
Sure.
have you seen any kind of switch in the focus from being a Florida to anywhere goes kind of investment criteria or other types of pivots?
Sure. Well, you're very accurate as always, Karen, in your assessment that yeah, we remember management and we things have changed and we were never really we were never really focused just on Florida. Much like when I was with AIM, we were willing to look at any deals from anywhere, but because South Florida is just geographically isolated, that's just a geographic reality, is that
Sure.
South Florida is not on the way anywhere except Havana or Nassau. And
Okay.
so as a result, you do get somewhat siloed with local stuff. But because of, again, our relationships that I'd built before coming here, we were able to access deals through Venture South in the Carolinas, or through AIM in Atlanta and Nashville and Alabama, or through the Central Texas Angels in Austin, or through New Cura partners in Nashville. So we've been able to reach out and look at those deals as well. But yeah, we try to stay. We still are member managed. We want to bring value add to our portfolio companies. That's kind of the point of what we try to do with angel investing group. As an angel investing group, is bring that value add to the table and help them grow and scale in a more rapid fashion. But because of what Miami is, we've been able to look at things, and there's so many, I did say, but you've seen it too. There's so many scams that come across different tables, particularly if they're international. But because of the relationships and people here, you can vet those out through ambassadors and through general consuls that live here in Miami, so that we can look at deals in the Dominican Republic or in Colombia or in Israel, for that matter. In fact, today we were contacted. Not today we were but we developed a relationship with the Florida Israel Business Accelerator out of Tampa, that is focused exclusively on identifying Israeli-based technology companies that have proof of concept in Israel, that have market adoption in Israel, that have traction in Israel, have revenues in that sector, and want to come to the U.S. market. We've got exposure to those companies, which is a totally different level when you're talking Israeli technology. And then, of course, the concentration of capital in South Florida is unparalleled in any other market outside of the top four or top three anyway of New York City, Manhattan, Silicon Valley, and Houston, maybe Los Angeles, but that's probably they're probably equating. And when I say the area, I mean from Palm Beach all the way down to Homestead or even Key West. So the region and the growth that we're about to see here in South Florida, the explosion, which will be which will be comparable to what transpired there in Atlanta in the late 90s, early 2000s, after WebMD went public and after CNN was acquired by Time Warner, and then Time Warner, of course, was acquired by AOL, and the really metamorphosis that catalyzed in Atlanta, the same changes that occurred in Austin, Texas, around Dell Computers and what they did along with the tech transfer program that the University of Texas implemented, and then of course in healthcare IT in Nashville around HCA, all those events and all those different models that transformed those areas in the entrepreneur and capital markets. The same thing's going to happen here. It happened in South Florida, and it's going to be more catastrophic in a positive way here because there's so much more there's more capital here in South Florida than any of those towns right now.
Wow.
And so when that happens, it's going to be very interesting to see what transpires. You think traffic's bad now?
Yeah, no. I mean, traffic in Miami was bad like years ago. So one of the things that has been a hot topic within angel groups and VC groups is inclusion and diversity. And I would guess that your answer to this question is that it really hasn't changed much because of the nature of the Miami marketplace is naturally diverse. So your source of entrepreneurs as well as investors are diverse by just the nature of the region. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and Miami-Dade County is, I think, census I saw was 59% Hispanic. So, diversity is just a way of life here, so to speak. And you've got lots of not just different cultures and races and men and women, but again, countries that are represented here. People coming here and launching things from other countries, so it's a way of life, and I think. And you still got certain pockets of capital, but you've also got people who come here and made immense fortunes that started with nothing. For example, again, a lot of the the Cuban families, the group that started Driftwood Capital in Coral Gables. Another great Latin American story. The family came here with, really nothing from 25, 30 years ago. Launched the business from their kitchen table and now a very successful business that's a 10-figure portfolio of assets. So and the landscape here in South Florida is replete with those stories. So it's really exciting. And again, it's not specific to any particular group or any particular race or any particular ethnicity. It's really cross-cultural. I think it provides a great example to the rest of the country of what's possible and what is transpiring now, despite what you may be hearing from different aspects of the media. That I think we're a great profile of what America and what the landscape can offer right now to those people who want to try to pursue things.
Okay, so I know it's sort of in general, the anything that looks like a good deal we'll invest in. So is there any particular industries and things that you are staying away from these days?
Yeah, restaurants and bars, of course.
Yeah, sure.
We don't do those. We don't do brick and mortar retail, and we don't do franchises. But outside of that, Karen, we're still looking at anything. We do have a relationship with groups that do real estate. We don't do real estate per se, but real estate, particularly in this area right now, real estate agents, not brokerage firms, not real estate agencies, but agents themselves, even in the residential market, they're making generational wealth. You sell 15, 10, 12, $15 million individual residences, single family homes are all over the place, and they're being sold every day, literally every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you take a 5% commission on a couple of those, you've had a pretty good week. So that's something that we still will look at, but we will farm that out or refer that out to one of our partners that we work that specifically does real estate. So we'll look at anything and talk to anybody. And what I try to do, Karen, even if I can't help somebody, if it's something we are not going to invest in, I try to find a resource for that company that we can refer them to, that may be early stage or seed stage, or even friends and family around, that may be a vertical, or at least be maybe a family office that has a specific interest or a holdings already in that specific vertical market, where we can do a strategic relationship. And we've been able to do a couple of those where it was really not something that fit our natural profile. However, we were able to do introductions to strategic partnerships or families that had interest in a specific niche.
Yeah. So there's also a lot of talk, buzz about cannabis and the nature of what's happening down in Florida. You guys are, I guess, you already had medicinal, right? And then you just approved another level. So do you see it happening for small businesses down there, or because Florida did a vertical licensing model? Is it all just real big businesses jumping in on that?
No, I think you're going to see an institutional approach to that as well. Again, it becomes a retail piece, and ultimately there's going to be, I think, some corporate interest there as well. But I think it's like anything else. Like you have some people that want to jump into the spirits industry, some people that don't. But there's money to be made in the cannabis space, and I think you're going to see probably more interest in that. But it'll be groups that that maybe have some type of vertical integration. That's not something we would do necessarily right now.
Yeah. So very good. So anything else you'd like to share with the listeners of the Compassionate Capitalist Show?
Come on to South Florida. There's lots of opportunities here. We welcome everybody. And you know what you need to do is you need to look at what Karen Rand has in her library. Reading something that she has produced will make your day better, no matter how your day is going. Karen, you produce so much good content, not just in your podcast, but in your articles, your books. It really should be required reading for a lot of people in our industry.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope some of your new members are taking advantage of my primer, Inside Secrets to Angel Investing.
Absolutely. It's something that's recommended. No question.
Okay, very good. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share your insights about South Florida, and congratulations for all the successes going on down there with the Gold Coast Angels.
Thank you so much, Karen. And again, congratulations to you on your continued success and growth and the things that you're doing. And I appreciate you letting me be a part of this, and I'm grateful for being associated with what you're doing.
Yes, thank you. So hopefully I'll be down in that neck of the woods sooner than later, and we'll get together face to face and break some bread.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thank you. Onwards and upwards.